Hey guys, I'm Rain Unger, and this is another episode of Under the Radar, where we talk all things film. And with me tonight, I have a wonderful panel of guest critics, no strangers to the show. We have, ladies first, Rachel Kolb. Rachel, how's it going?
Hi, happy to be back.
Welcome back. We've got Eric Godfrey. Hello again, sir.
Oh, thank you again for having me. Again.
Anytime. And this guy, Matt Roran, you guys probably know him. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you.
So guys, Matt, what are you watching this week? What are our pandemic picks this week?
Oh, this week, finishing out the 1991 to 1992 television seasons through my Disney Quest. This is where the heavy TV picks up when Walt Disney Productions went full-blown TV. So I've watched, I watched the second season of Maniac Mansion, the second season of Blossom, the first season of Home Improvement.
Nice.
Which it's odd because it was like one of those things where I was like not looking forward to rewatching because I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna like it as much as I did when I was a kid. But it's actually like a pretty like funny show. Like,
yeah,
like I mean, the premise that he's just like the worst fucking tool guy ever. Like, and you know, like Al is a hero and it's great. And the reoccurring joke of everyone always being like, "Oh, we love Al," and he's like, "Everybody loves Al." So that's enjoyable. And I just watched season 1 of The Torkelsons, which will in season 2 become Home Again, I think. Yeah. And then I am currently in the middle of the final season of Golden Girls. So
it's a lot of good early 90s, late 80s TV there. So
yeah.
Keep it going. It's awesome. The Torkelsons, yeah, I have fond memories of that show as well. So yeah, you bring up some interesting memories, Mr. Roran, and I thank you for that. Rachel, I know you're busy with your cooking, but have you managed to squeeze any TV or film in?
I have squeezed in a little bit of TV this week. Not so much film, haven't had time for film, but I have been watching We're Here on HBO Max, which is a show with Bob the Drag Queen, Eureka O'Hara, and Shangela, who are all drag queens who appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race. And it's kind of similar in format to the revival of Queer Eye, where each episode they're going to a small town in the Midwest, the South, and basically they're kind of tapping into the queer community in these small towns, and they put on a drag show. It's literally, we come to town and let's put on a show. And some of the performers are local drag queens that they're mentoring, and other people are straight allies who just kind of want to show their support for the community and want to get the chance to do drag. So it's really fun, very heartwarming.
Okay, that sounds good. Doesn't sound like a drag, so excuse me. Mr. Godfrey, what have you been watching this week?
For me, I'm happy that The Bad Batch is finally out, and so far is off to a very strong start. It's always great to go back to the Clone Wars cartoons, and I'm very excited to see where they're going to take this one.
Cool.
And on the gaming front, this Friday, very excited. Mass Effect Trilogy Remastered comes out, and I'm very excited to get back into that world.
Is that EA Games?
Yeah, it is.
They can do no wrong.
Depending on who you talk to about Mass Effect 3. Well,
that's not true yet, because I played Battlefield a few years ago and I wasn't impressed. I was hoping it would be more like, you know, the game for PS2 back in the day, Black, which is a first-person shooter.
Oh, I remember Black. That was a good one.
Remember it?
Oh yeah, Black is suddenly one of the. It's sad that we never got a follow-up to it. There was supposed to be a sequel, but it got canceled.
And that was like it was like the transition between PS2 and PS3.
Mhm.
So I guess it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
It's a great game, guys. Black on PS2. If you still have a PS2 out there, check it out. It's really ahead of its time. And as for me, I've just been watching stuff in preparation for this show. Also, I found a very kind of an obscure movie on HBO Max called Scarecrow, and stars Gene Hackman and Al Pacino. It's from 1973. And Matt, you probably have heard of it.
I've heard of it. I've not seen it.
Yeah. So I actually started. I didn't finish it, but it was basically about two loners who they're kind of like in the middle of America. It starts off with them hitchhiking on a dirt road, and they basically are two drifters who kind of like cross paths, and they kind of join forces, and they want to open up a car wash, and it's all about the adventures they get into. And it's Gene Hackman and Al Pacino, two incredibly legendary actors.
In their prime, too. It's like early 70s.
Yeah, man. Like, I can't tell.
Before Al Pacino got lost in the caricature of Al Pacino.
Yeah, a young Pacino with all that energy. It's just it's a great film.
He was so good
Mhm.
in the 70s. He was so good.
Mhm.
What a shame.
He has his moments. He has his moments here and there now.
Yeah, he definitely has his moments.
But
it's usually the roles I like him in now are roles where he's super exaggerated, like Devil's Advocate or like
Any Given Sunday,
Tracy, where it's like like
he's at this point he's more of a caricature of himself.
He just, like after The Godfather, second one, like he just became like, okay then.
Think of him in Hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think after Glenn Ross and his Oscar win for Son of a Woman, he kind of became that like over the top.
I feel like Son of a Woman was where you really see the Pacinoisms of modern day.
Oh yeah.
Considering that movie, that performance is every stereotype of what the big Pacino performance is. The courtroom of I get a flamethrower in this place.
Yeah. Rachel, are you a fan of Mr. Pacino?
I would say that I am. Yeah. I mean, usually these days, like when I go to his performances, I kind of have the same mindset as I do with like a Nicolas Cage. That I'm like, you know what? I'll go in with like medium expectations, and if I'm surprised, then yay. And I really enjoyed him in Hunters. I thought that was a really good role for him in that show.
That's an Amazon original, right? It's a miniseries.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah. Because basically he's leading a bunch of Nazi hunters.
Right.
Yeah.
What a cast that had, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's on my list now. It's officially
Very excited for season 2, considering where it left off.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh, and guys, I also want to mention, so on Saturday night, I had a very interesting and fun experience with this company, Secret Formula. They put on events in New York City, mostly in Brooklyn, but now it's all pretty much virtual. They did an interactive screening of Last Action Hero, the Schwarzenegger film from 1993, very meta. Not a lot of people have given that movie love. It's been hated by critics and audiences, but over time it's developed a strong cult following. So I did this. I attended the screening, and actually won one of their trivia competitions, and it was very fun, very cool. And yeah, I've actually done their Spoons, Tunes, and Booze event in the past. I did that at the Nighthawk Cinema a few years ago, where they basically show old cartoons like 80s, 90s, and even older, and have a cereal buffet, like a cereal bar. They also have signature cocktails with certain cereals. So like Cocoa Puffs with with like a White Russian. They just basically put cereal on. They pour cereal into a drink and then serve it. And yeah, it's a great time. Spoons, Tunes, and Booze. I think they're doing a virtual one. I guess you have to assemble your own drinks. I don't know how that's going to work, but I think they'll find a way because they're really great. Secret formula. So guys, check them out. They're really cool. So,
Last
okay.
Action Hero.
Oh, isn't it great?
I love that movie.
So much fun.
I mean, you get Charles Dance as the bad guy. Danny DeVito voices a cartoon cat. Ian McKellen is deaf.
F. Murray Abraham is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Mercedes Ruel. She plays Danny's mom. She was actually in The Fisher King. She won an Oscar for that. But
right, that's right.
Great cast, great story. And
I love, like, Last Action Hero is a fantastic look at just the entire Schwarzenegger career.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only one where you ever see Stallone on a poster for Terminator 2.
Isn't that like the best cameo ever?
Yeah.
And it's such a great time in Schwarzenegger's life, his career rather. He had just done T2 in 91, and then he follows Last Action Hero up with True Lies in 94. 1993 was a very weird year for Arnold, but we got this really great film. And yeah, real quick, Rachel, were you a fan of Last Action Hero?
I am, yeah. I actually watched it for the first time with Eric. That was one that he was like, I have to show you this movie.
I am a defender of that one.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. I liked it quite a bit. Yeah.
It's got serious replay value, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Matt, Last Action Hero, where do you stand on that one?
It's a fun movie. You know, it's can't go wrong with it. Solid soundtrack too. Solid soundtrack.
And you're not just talking about Michael Kamen's score, right?
No, not it featured two previously unreleased Alice in Chains songs as well. So that was cool. It's got Megadeth on there. It was pretty solid soundtrack.
Do you have it at Pickle Island in any?
Probably actually. I do own it, and I'm pretty sure that I've stumbled upon spare copy here and there, so it's probably there.
Good to know. You're making me want to visit your Pickle Island all the more. So it'll happen. All right, guys. So let's get into our first film review. So this is a very interesting one. It's actually it's called Best Summer Ever, and it was actually screened at the Real Abilities Film Festival, I believe last week or the week before. But it actually opened the festival, and it's a standard musical put on by a wonderful company, Zeno Mountain Farm, which basically consists of supporters of Zeno are people with and without disabilities. But this film has a largely, the cast and crew is largely disabled. However, they put together this wonderful film. It's very lighthearted. The songs are actually kind of good. The story is generic. But it's not a parody, which is interesting. It's a interesting take on the musical genre, and I think the acting is pretty solid, especially from Shannon DeVito, who plays the lead character. The fact that it's by people who are disabled it's an accomplishment, but that's not the main focus here. The main focus is a decent story with just a very happy, uplifting feeling. And I kind of, once the movie ended, I had a smile on my face. And I think that's what this movie set out to do, and it accomplished it for me anyway. Rachel, I know you're a big Broadway person, big on musicals. What were your thoughts on Best Summer Ever?
Yeah, I mean, the story is very much your standard Grease high school musical. Two kids meet over the summer and are unexpectedly reunited in high school. It especially has a lot of parallels to the first High School Musical movie, with him being torn between wanting to do the singing and dancing and also having these commitments to sports and everything. My overall feeling is it's not necessarily a movie that's meant for me. Like, I enjoyed it. It's not something that I'm going to necessarily go back to. I think that the lead performance by, what was her name again? It's Shannon
DeVito.
Shannon DeVito. Yeah, because I had seen her previously in the show Difficult People, with on Hulu, which she was great in. Played a very kind of subversive character in that. And it was interesting to see her playing a much more wholesome type character in this. And I hope that, like clearly this is, an early venture into all this for a lot of them. I hope that they kind of continue and maybe try to do something a little more outside the box. But I also realize that this, again, is it made for me, and is it meant for me? It's meant as much for the people that are in the movie as, it's an art that serves the people that are making it as much as the people that are watching it,
Right.
if not more so.
It's like a production that only their friends and families would like really love because it's them.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think that. I think it's definitely better than that. But I do think that it's very important in our art to see the world that we want to see, which in this world, it's clear that, the cheerleading squad, the football team, all of these cliques in the school are filled out with able-bodied and disabled people. Like it's just a fact of life, which is a really wonderful thing to see play out. It's just obviously at this point in our school system that isn't the case. So, but again, it's wonderful to get to see that and get to imagine a world where that's the case.
Well put. Eric, how did you feel about the film?
It's one of those ones that I kind of agree with what you were saying, Randy, where it's like you get to the end and you're just like, it's so wholesome and sincere that it's hard to hold anything against it. And while I definitely agree with Rachel, it's like it's not for me. It's not it's the performances are good, the story is fine, it's adequate for a musical, the music is catchy, but it's just like it's so sincere and so good at what it's doing and just being like what Rachel said, the world that you want to see, that it's hard to just not be on board with at least what it's trying to do and just be encouraging in that way. So overall I liked it, and just because it was fun. It was just upbeat and fun, and it set out, I think it had a very simple goal, and it set out and accomplished it really well to make a musical in the tradition of Greece and the tradition of like high school musical, and that had, like Rachel was saying, disabled and able-bodied people, but never wanting to call attention to it, and making sure that it was never a part of the plot. Like how simple any other thing, the cheerleader would have had a line or two, a throwaway about, oh, you want to date the girl in the wheelchair, and it's like, and it avoided all that very well, and it's encouraging, and so it's like it's hard for me not to just be like yes to a movie like this.
Yeah. And that feeling, that wholesomeness, it really shines. It shows, especially at the very end, right before the credits. They basically show you the behind the scenes of them, and everyone is like having the time of their life. And it's a really nice film.
Yeah.
I would say this is great for kids. This is like a great family.
Yeah, absolutely. And which of course is kind of, I'm calling it wholesome when there's an entire plot point about the fact that her
moms are cannabis
on the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there is, within the disabled community, there's a lot of advocacy for cannabis, particularly medicinal cannabis. So I wonder if that was also an influencing factor that, of normalizing that.
Yeah, it was
certain degree.
it was if it was that, it seemed a little subtle, but I wouldn't put it past the creators. So Mr. Roran, last but not least, what did you think of the film?
I mean, it's like, it's one of those things like, it's definitely not for me. Like, I'm not big on musicals. Like, musicals usually like me, and this is a prime example of pretty much everything I hate about musicals. That saccharine, like, it's just like, ugh, like I don't know, like I don't know, like I mean, it's like it's weird because some musicals I absolutely love, like like Little Shop of Horrors is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Nice.
It's just like certain things it's like also like I don't like Rocky Horror Picture Show. I don't like it. I like the songs though, which is weird. The songs in it, if it was a record I'm listening to, I like it. The movie overall, not so much. But yeah, I mean, I just found this movie to be too saccharine, too sweet,
Mhm.
and it's as far as the acting went, I thought the lead actress was who I had also known from Difficult People. I thought she was the best part of the movie. Her voice was great, and like she was probably the best actor in the movie. I mean, like the person who played the cheerleader was like awful, like a terrible actor, and I can say that because she's one of two people in the movie that aren't disabled, so I don't have to feel bad about it. The disabled people are great. It's the two non-disabled leads that are terrible. And it is, though, like you're all saying, it is great to have this world where it's just another thing where everyone's blended, even the cop who comes is
Right.
hand capable, where it's just like it's so just meshed in that it's just like wow, wouldn't the world be great if this was how it worked?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those things that our reality is so terrible, especially in recent years, that where you have a president who makes fun of disabled people in front of everybody, like that's okay, and it's just so like it just feels like too much of fantasy. It's it's like it's gonna take even longer to get there now.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's kind of,
It's
it kind of
it's cute
oh,
if you like that kind of thing.
I will say, I think as far as I can see why this isn't necessarily musical for people, a musical for non-musical people, because it is very much a musical where it's like we're gonna stop the story
Yeah,
and we're gonna just sing a song.
that's
We're
100%
gonna sing
why
a song about rolling along and finding your own path, and then we're gonna end the song, and then we're gonna continue with the story. Like it's not a thing where the songs are the driving force behind it. They're just usually there's a few exceptions, but for the most part they're just there to give a chance for them to showcase.
well, this is basically an indie film, if in a way.
Yeah.
And they couldn't afford like a good script supervisor or someone to just tighten things up a bit and make it flow better. But I think provided that I think they did a decent job here.
Yeah, I mean it's not terrible. It's just
Right.
definitely not for me.
Right.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that it's entirely outside of like the Hollywood system, because
No.
while it was certainly produced independently, like Maggie Gyllenhaal is an executive producer on it. Benjamin Bratt is a producer on it, and clearly they are executive producers because this subject is particularly near and dear to them. So, but there was at least some seasoned Hollywood talent that was involved with it.
And also I wanted to mention Zach Gottsagen, who was in the Peanut Butter Falcon, one of my favorite movies in recent years. He has a supporting role in this too, and I think he was in a few of the other Xeno Mountain Farm films as well. He has Down syndrome, but he's actually a really, really talented actor. If you guys saw Peanut Butter Falcon, you'll know what I'm talking about. So it was really nice to see him in something after Peanut Butter. But Xeno Mountain Farm, I just want to mention, so they are located in Lincoln, Vermont. And like I said,
People live there? No.
it's kind of like a summer camp slash retreat for people with and without disabilities. Basically, you just go there and support them, hang out, have fun with them, work with them. And it's like a really laid back atmosphere from what I can tell. I actually interviewed a few of the individuals who are involved with the farm. A couple years ago, they made a documentary called Becoming Bulletproof, which is basically a documentary about making a Western. So they've delved in that genre, and it wasn't bad. It was, it was decent for what it was. But I think the documentary itself was a lot more interesting, and the people involved are just really, really down to earth, cool people. A lot of them are in this best summer ever, obviously, and I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what else they can come up with. Like they're talented people, they're creative, and I think they've got a lot going for them. So, let's see what they have up their sleeves. And guys, if you want to support Zeno Mountain Farm, just Google that, go to their website, and you can find out ways to contribute, donate, and just get involved. So that's Zeno Mountain Farm, Zeno. So, all right. Matt, see it or skip it? Is this on your radar?
If you like musicals, I would say see it. If you don't like musicals, definitely avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
It's
Direct.
If you don't like musicals, it's definitely not for you.
Yeah, agreed. I'm with you on that one. Rachel?
I would say see it. Let's support these artists. Let's let help them keep doing what they're doing, and let's normalize seeing people of all abilities up on screen.
Yeah, agreed. Mr. Godfrey?
I'm in the same camp. See it. It's sweet. It's innocent, and I'm with Rachel. It's like it's only an hour, and it's worth it to support the artist at the very least. So I would definitely say see it.
Cool. All right, I think we're all in the same boat. It's a fun one, and yeah, it's a great showcase for these talented young people.
Mhm.
All right, guys, so we're gonna take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more film reviews right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Randy Unger, Under the Radar, and we're halfway through with the show, guys. Next up on our film reviews, very different from our previous film, but this one, it's actually on Netflix right now. It's an animated adventure, sci-fi family adventure, I'd say, called The Mitchells versus the Machines. And basically, it focuses on a pretty dysfunctional family who get in the middle of a war waged by technology. Cell phones and other technology has sprung to life and is threatening civilization as we know it, kind of like Terminator 2. But this is an animated adventure. It's really fun. It's from the makers of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and the Lego Movie, written and directed by Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe. This movie is dazzling. It's visually stunning. It's got a great voice cast. The animation's top notch. The action is a mile a minute. It's a crazy film. We've got Monchi, the family dog, right behind me, and one of my favorite characters in any cartoon now ever. This movie, I can't say enough about it. It's just so great. I think it's one of my favorite animated films of all time. And You know, I loved Spider-Verse. That was a great animated film as well. Won an Oscar. I think this film has a good shot at an Oscar as well. So we will see. And also, guys, it was originally titled Connected, but they changed it. I think that the filmmakers actually preferred this title.
Yeah.
But
they wanted Mitchell's versus the Machines. It
I
was
like-
Sony that wanted to change it to Connected.
yeah. I mean, I like both titles, but this is more quirky. But what's in a name, really?
I mean, it tells you more about the story.
That's
Connected
the
could
point.
be anything.
That's true. Or it could have been called Disconnected. I don't know.
It was Connected.
All right. Matt, what were your thoughts?
Oh man, I absolutely loved it. I mean, it's like you had me at the voice cast. I looked at who was in it, and it's like a who's who of modern comedy. I mean, Abby Jacobson from Broad City, and you got Eric Andre. I mean, Danny McBride. And it's just an all-star ensemble, and Sony Pictures Animation Studios, like they really like they're like the new hot. It's like where'd they come from? There's like they've in 2 movies have already like bypassed DreamWorks by a billion, like, and Illumination and all those. It's like all these sub groups of animation, and they really just knocked it out of the park with 2 home runs right there. I mean, all the characters are incredible. They're so well developed. Even the robot characters, like, I think besides your wonderful pal behind you, Moochie, but the 2 robots are probably my favorite part of the movie.
Eric and Deborah Bot 5000.
Yeah, it like, I mean, the writing in this is incredible. I know the director and writer also was a writer on Gravity Falls, which is, I mean, one of the greatest animated shows of all time. And it's a perfect film for everybody. It was one of those things, like, it came on and my kids were like super excited about it, so we watched it. One of the few things we actually watched, all of us as a family, where even my 12-year-old stayed and watched it with us instead of going up to the room to be on the iPad. So it was nice. Everybody had a good time. I can't say enough nice things about this movie. It was just wonderful. A wonderful movie.
And if a movie can bring family together, even your 12-year-old, and
I know, right? It did what it was supposed to do. The message of the film, it made it reality.
Yeah. Because the younger generation, they don't really know what it's like for actual human contact, and that movie hits the nail on the head. It's perfect.
Yeah, really. It's like that whole. I can't even drive to the gas station without them bringing their iPads in the car, and it's like, we're gonna be gone for 5 minutes. Like, why? So,
has this movie changed their behavior or their attitude?
Oh, of course not. But at least for an hour and a half, it was great. They pretty much stayed off for an hour and a half.
Or something.
It was something.
Cool. Eric, what did you think of the Mitchells versus the Machines?
I mean, I absolutely loved it. It's the secret weapon of Sony Pictures, Lord and Miller. I'm scared because it's just, they keep doing it. Like, it's just like, from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs to 22 Jump Street, to making pretty much one of my favorite animated movies of all time, the Lego Movie, which they took not only Legos but made one of the greatest animated movies ever made, and then Spider-Verse, and it's like, you keep waiting for a fumble because they've just been so consistently good. And Mitchell's with the Machines is just another masterpiece that they have their name attached. And while obviously they're producers as with Spider-Verse, it's just like, it just seems that they just have that golden touch.
Yeah.
And they haven't touched an animated project that I just haven't loved. And this one has all that because it has the humor, it has all that, but it like with Spider-Verse, like with Lego, there's that heart. They always know how to get you that heart underneath all of it. So despite all the zany jokes, despite all the crazy animation styles that they're pioneering, that they always make sure to have that core human element. And in a weird way, Mitchell's versus the Machines has a very up element to it that within the first 10 minutes, you're kind of reaching for the tissues already because you're just feeling that as you were saying, disconnect, because of just the fact that this is very much about a family having to grow back together, and how much within 10 minutes you feel that real disconnect, especially between Katie the daughter and Ricky the father. And it's like, even by the end of the movie, I mean, I was bawling when the whole with the reveal of the moose, the wooden moose thing. I was just like, like I was crying, and so I love this movie. There's no part, and it's the best movie featuring Furbies that I can think of.
Oh my god,
They brought them back. I love it.
And it was great too, because that moment, my kids hate Furbies. So they're like terrified of them. So that the giant Furby, they were like, no. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the gags in this movie, the Roombas falling down the escalator. It's just like Olivia Colman as the as pal of the phone. It's just I can't. There is not a single part of this movie I just was not fully loving, and so it's just like whatever Lord and Miller do as producers, they once again they did it again.
Yeah, and they're all so different. Lego Movie, Spider-Verse, they're all so distinct. Yet they kind of blend different elements and styles together.
I mean, we should have known when their first major directorial and writing debut, they took what was a 20-page kids book and turned it into such a fantastic animated movie.
Yeah.
Another father, and well, in that case, father-son, but another great story about that sort of disconnect and trying to understand each other.
I mean, you can see at the core of all that. I mean, Lego Movie ultimately is about the disconnect between the father and the son over that. Even Spider-Verse, to a degree, if you count Peter as the father figure and Miles as the son.
Even the relationship between him and his father.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Then you even do have Miles and his actual father.
Yeah.
So he gets a twofer in that one.
Yeah, because it's like that relationship between him and his uncle versus him and his father. It's.
I don't think maybe tackle Star Wars or maybe a different.
Well, they were supposed
to do Solo because they wrote Solo, but then they got in too much of a fight with. Well, they didn't personally, but their style of directing was against was Kasdan.
Yeah, Lawrence Kasdan.
Because Lord and Miller from what I understand, they were very impromptu. They were very much like kind of wanted to figure it out on the spot. And Kasdan is like nope, what is on the page is what goes on screen.
I don't think it's necessarily that they like try to figure out the spot, but they're much more
but
they're much more open to changing the material if it doesn't work.
And from my understanding, what I read was Kasdan, the screenwriter of Solo, was very much against that. And so unfortunately just didn't work out. And it does make me wonder and I enjoyed Solo. I thought it was fun. It's fun. But it does make me wonder what it would have looked like with Lord Miller at the helm.
So they did 22 jumps. Did they do 21?
They did both.
They did both. Those are really funny movies too. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems like just from like these 3 animated films that they have like limitless potential, and I think we all want to see where they're going to go next. I could even see a sequel for Mitchell's versus the Machines or Mitchell's versus the Wilderness. But it could be anything. The possibilities are endless. So and yeah, I don't even know how to describe the shifting of animation styles, because especially in Spider-Verse, it's very all over the place. And it seems like they're disorganized and kind of crazy, but I don't want to contain that craziness. I want to see it, kind of continue and build to see where it's going to go. So
I think it feels like it's not contained, but it's contained.
I feel like if anything, what they're doing with it is they're, instead of like some studios, they look at it and say, okay, this is 2D animation. This is what a 2D animated movie looks like. This is 3D animation. We have to make it look like the best looking 3D animation movie. And basically, they're saying we don't have to choose one or the other or any one of these elements. In fact, they have live action elements in this as well in Mitchell's versus the Machines. It's the thing that we don't have to choose. We can use whatever works best and best serves that story.
Yeah.
Like there's moments in here that are very like Pixar 3D animated look, but then there's also the like stubble on the dad, like the beard looks very much like hand drawn, like it looks like something out of like the still out of like a kid's book or something. Like it feels something that would fit more into like the 2D animation. So
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you could write an entire book on the animation style and the technology they came up with for Spider-Verse alone. I mean, that's one of the things. You're right, that just with Sony Pictures, they've just been pioneering an insane amount of what you can do with 3D animation. And I feel like that's kind of what's setting them apart from even from Pixar.
Yeah.
Is that where Pixar is still kind of in pursuit of the most photorealistic surroundings possible. I think they're just sitting there going, how can we just make animation look more unique, more interesting, and do more things with it?
Mhm.
So it's basically a battle between Pixar and Sony, I think, in terms of animated features.
Well, that's the thing though. I'd like them to coexist and just kind of both be making amazing things. I do kind of worry with how early Mitchell's versus the Machines is coming out this year that it might get lost in the animation race for next year. That really concerns me, and I really hope that Netflix puts in the campaign to get a nomination.
Netflix, that's the good thing about them, is that if it was on any other streaming service, it would definitely get lost. But Netflix is so hungry for Oscars.
Yep.
They really push him. I mean, at Cinema Arts Center, we were showing pretty much everything, you know, that they put out. They were putting out theatrically for the Oscars. So it was like El Camino came out, we showed it. The Irishman came out, we showed it. Like, you know, it's like, you know, they really push their films. They're like, I have a feeling they'll make sure that it gets in.
As far as the style of this movie and the content and just the way that it's told, I think it really captures very well the disconnect between the social media generation and the way that they communicate versus older generations. I think that it also articulates the younger generation in a way that is respectful and that is artful and is meaningful. Like even a thing that she says, oh, my dad reminds me of this video of this monkey, and then it cuts to the video of the monkey. That's like this actual viral video.
See, that kind of creativity, you don't see that anywhere else, especially in an animated film. I mean,
yeah.
The blend.
And even that they got Doug the Pug, who is like a social media star in his own right, to be the motion animations for the dog.
Right. So good, so good. And you know what? I wanted to mention real quick. So we mentioned the Oscars and animated films. I think Rachel and Matt if I'm not mistaken, did we review Wolf Walkers together? I think.
Yeah.
Matt,
I didn't. I was not a part of that, but
okay.
I believe that you two did.
Yeah, Matt. And that had a very unique style visually as well. So,
yeah, I mean that. I forgot what the name of the company is, but they've done 4 movies, I think, at this point.
Yeah, Song of the Sea.
Oh yeah. The
Secret of Kells.
Secret of Kells, and then
right.
I think there's another one or a short, but yeah, like I mean, their style is very, very unique to to their films.
It basically feels like a child's storybook come to life.
Yeah, and they're, because they're independent, they're always gonna get that Oscar nomination whenever they put out a film. Yeah. It's like the given. But it's I mean it's a great time for animation. I mean, because like all the studios are doing well with it.
And
a lot of great films.
And I think partly due to that is the pandemic, because a lot of films, can't really rely on human beings right now, like actual
Right.
on camera live action, people.
Yeah.
So animation is flourishing right now.
And it just makes me think like, oh yeah, there are like all these other smaller studios like Leica Studios, and Fox Trolls and Paranorman and Coraline and one of the which Missing Link. I'm like, which Bigfoot movie? Nine Bigfoot movies came out.
Oh, Missing
Kubo
Link
and the Two Strings.
Yeah.
That was the Wallace and Gromit.
Oh my God, Kubo was one of the best movies. So good. Yeah, I mean, there's so many like good animation studios out there right now, but
and we're even missing on DreamWorks, which I mean, even they like. I feel like they're kind of the underdog. I mean, one of my two trilogies on there, How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda, they always knocked it out of the park with that franchise.
Which one did Megamind? Because that's like one of those.
Megamind was
That's DreamWorks. Megamind is DreamWorks.
It's like one of those underrated films I just absolutely love.
Yeah, I always feel like DreamWorks is out there. Usually, they're doing really good, and I feel like they're kind of one of the more underappreciated when it comes to just the quality of their work.
Yeah, and it's which is like they're like such a big name in the business, but it's like, they also did the Madagascar movies. Yeah,
and you know what? Not just animation, but also scoring. You've got Hans Zimmer and John Powell at the forefront of pretty much all of the DreamWorks films.
Yeah.
And the greatest music in the last 15 years has been from DreamWorks, especially.
I was going to say the score for How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
It was one of the best animated scores ever.
That was John
Super
Powell.
memorable one. Yeah. Like I think of those movies and I can hear that score.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been following John Powell since for about 20 years now, ever since Shrek, and he did Evolution, which was actually.
Did he do Face Off?
Yeah, that was actually his first film in.
Yeah, because I'm like, I think John Powell. I think Face Off. I'm like, yeah.
He has done pretty much almost every animated film for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
It's insane. The Lorax, Horton Hears the Who, Robots, Rio 1 and 2, the first Shrek, all the How to Train Your Dragons. He's fantastic. I love him. I follow his career. It's pretty much on par with Danny Elfman. Like they're kind of neck and neck. I mean, I've always loved Elfman more, but Powell is very close to that. So yeah. So yeah, I kind of want to watch some animated films right now, guys.
If Lord and Miller are on it, you're guaranteed that it's going to be a great one.
Yeah, and I feel like this movie is such a love story to like movies in general and to young filmmakers that grew up having access to Apple Movie and and like their family camcorder, and it's just so wonderful. And obviously I connect very strongly with the main character, having gone to film school and having grown up making those sorts of silly movies that I would subject my family and my classmates to. But and of course the father storyline is very near and dear to my heart. But I don't know if you guys grew up with dads that loved hiking, didn't really get the whole movie stuff, but that was definitely me.
My dad would take us on we'd go to like what was it, Bushkill Falls or whatever, where it's like 4,000 million steps, and then like everyone in the family would just be like, "We hate you." It's like my dad then like is like overweight, like family, just like, we don't like this, like. But it's I miss like I feel kind of bad with my kids, because it's like, as much as like it bothered me like how my dad always had these plans of like, it's 8 a.m. we wake up, we do this, we went on so many vacations. I never like, we didn't really do vacations like with my kids. Like we'd go, I'm like, we'll go to Pennsylvania, we'll go to New Jersey, but like I haven't done like Florida, like
yeah,
but who can afford it these days?
I never did. I did as a kid. We didn't do road trips or like
all
vacation.
the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, we're going out to see grandma
I
and
felt like
grandpa,
we were
going out to
always
Colorado.
like
You want to go
road trip,
skiing? You hop in the car, you go drive. Like every
you
trip
did
my
it,
family
you
made, it was a road
drive.
trip
Yeah. I didn't go camping either, actually. So
I've actually never
all the time.
been camping.
that's awesome. And hopefully this movie will inspire parents to be more interactive with their kids, you know? I think it,
Or connected.
hey, I see
Yeah.
what you did there.
More versus machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think it's unanimous. I think we all love this movie.
Yeah.
Might be on my list for top of the year, but it's a
Definitely.
little early for that. But this
Yeah.
might be there. All right, guys. So we have a few minutes left, but I just wanted to do some coming attractions, stuff that's coming into theaters this week. We've got an action comedy drama called Riders of Justice, which stars Mads Mikkelsen. Basically, he's shaved his head, not shaved his head completely, but he's got a shorter do in this one. So anything Mads does is fantastic. We also have an Eric Bana crime drama mystery called The Try. Also, a Mexican-French film drama called New Order. And lastly, we have a biographical comedy drama film called Dream Horse, starring Toni Collette. So that has potential there.
Oh, yeah.
She's great. I love her.
Yeah, it's, the dude from Homeland.
Yeah, Damian Lewis.
Damian Lewis, he's great. Yeah.
Good. And Billions. Yeah,
Yep.
it's cool. So guys, is there anything in particular you're looking forward to streaming or in theaters? Rachel?
Well, I will say that I have been enjoying the Mighty Ducks show on Disney Plus. That has been kind of a guilty pleasure for me. And I did watch the reunion episode where they brought back the old Ducks team.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a really wonderful episode to rewatch, especially having just recently revisited the first movie. There's a lot of callbacks to the original movie. So definitely I would recommend checking that out. Also, this is kind of outside of the traditional realm of our streaming picks, but they're the theater company behind Puffs and Kapawi Gogo has been doing a show called Guy Choiceman Saves America, and it is a choose your own adventure action thriller in the vein of something like, say, Born Identity, but with a sense of humor. So I highly recommend it. You get to actually watch it live and get to vote as far as what the character does, and it can go completely differently every performance, and a lot of great performers in it. So
Cool. I love anything interactive. So Matt, I miss the cafe dearly. We all do.
Certainly do. Yeah.
Eric, what are you looking forward to seeing?
On the Disney Plus front, Bad Batch is, like I said, completely got my attention. I can't wait. Loki's right around the corner, and with how good WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier is, I'm very excited to see what happens when Loki gets his own show. I feel like those are kind of the ones in the near future. Weirdly enough, because I know with all the HBO Max movies that are still coming out, I think the one that I'm still looking forward to the most is still Dune, because I cannot wait to see what they have in store with this new version of it, and still getting even more excited for Knives Out too now that Dave Bautista has joined the cast.
And Edward Norton.
Yeah, I saw Norton just got cast today too.
It's cool. Matt Roran, what are you looking forward to seeing?
I mean, Loki 100%. Like, I could not be more excited for that. Right now I'm just excited to be back at the movies like all the time. The theater by me is now open 7 days a week.
Yay.
So I totally am taking advantage of the A-list again, and I've been seeing 3 movies a week, and it's been incredible. I went and saw Scott Pilgrim in Dolby, and it was one of the greatest things ever. I mean, if there was ever a movie meant for Dolby, it was like that movie, and it was what an experience. I mean, that movie only gets better every time you see it.
Right.
And yeah, I saw the new Billy Crystal Alan Zweibel movie
Yep.
last night, and I kind of was like, I went in thinking like I want something like, you know, fun and like whatever, like fun, and it destroyed me. It was like the saddest movie I've ever seen in my life. I cried, I ugly cried through like half the movie. I mean, it's fun, but it's very very sad as well. So I definitely did not expect it to be as heavy, but I'm glad it was. It was a beautiful movie. It was incredible.
Yeah, any movie about dementia is tricky.
Yeah.
That's tricky territory right there.
Yeah.
But I love Crystal. I love pretty much everything he's done.
Yeah.
Not even My Giant was pretty watchable. But for me, yeah, Loki, Mighty Ducks, Game Changers. I'm actually on HBO Max right now, and I see that they have a lot of classic films like Humphrey Bogart stuff. So, I'm gonna revisit some of the classics, like the real classics there. Also, I'm a little curious about Chris Rock's turn in Spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious what he's gonna do with that type of character, like a sort of like this detective searching for answers. I know, yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's done much drama or serious stuff.
Well, he did
Not like
the Fargo
Fargo.
season.
Fargo,
Yeah.
right. So, I mean, comedic actors typically have a really good dark side, a really good dramatic side to them. So I am curious to see what he's going to do with Spiral.
Yeah, he actually made me interested in the Saw franchise. I've not seen any of the movies because I hate that kind of movie.
Right,
I'm like not big on like torture porn, so I'm actually like, oh, this looks good. So
yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Oh, and there is one more movie I did think of that I'm looking forward to, Cruella on Disney
yes.
Plus. I am looking forward to that movie. I think it's going to be cheesy and it's going to be goofy and I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to have good costumes and a good cast.
Oh yeah.
So,
and I think Emma Stone is perfect for that too. Like physically,
two Emmas, man.
Yeah.
Double the Emmas.
she's gonna do a good job. I'm pretty sure. I just want to do really quick some plugs. Matt Roran, how's the Pickle Island going?
Pickle Island's great. Come and check it out. 12 Little Avenue in Bayville, New York. Come check it out. We got pickles. We got comics. We got CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, VHS. We got some old video games. We got some stuff like that. I bet you like it.
It's really good stuff.
It's really good stuff.
Okay.
Check it out.
Perfect. Miss Kolb?
well, you can always find Dobby on Instagram at Dobby the House Doggo. Also on Instagram, you can find the Hudson County Community College Bake Shop Instagram. Bake Shop Does It Better. And you can see highlights from some of our classes, funny moments with our chefs. It's a really fun account. So
great. I love it. I love your passion for food and film. Two of my favorite things ever. So keep it up. It's great. Eric, any plugs, anything you want to mention?
No projects. I'm just gonna be watching a lot of TV and playing some games.
Also, some of my favorite stuff, video games, yes. And since with things opening up, sort of opening up in New York, I'm hoping to get back into the city and do Barcade, which is it's basically a home away from home.
Oh yeah.
And if anyone watching now who is not familiar with Barcade, it is basically a bar with classic arcade games inside. So you have a beer, you play a game of Tetris. It's perfect. And maybe I'll see you guys there in person in the future, I hope.
That'd be nice.
And hello, Dobby. Good to see you, sir.
yes, he heard we were doing a movie with a dog and had to show up.
Always a welcome addition. And for those who want to see new episodes of Under the Radar every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, just go to Manhattan Neighborhood Network to see some new episodes, some new film reviews. But yeah, until next time, I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar, and have a good evening. Take care, guys.